What is going on, everybody? My name is Chris. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I am. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new Skate 3 video. So right now we're currently skating at a park and there isn't actually a skate park here. We got a parking lot, we got some grass, and we got this little plot of land. And that's the point of today's video, is we're going to try to build a skate park on a 3x2 slab of concrete. And I wouldn't say necessarily this is the smallest skate park, but this is the smallest possible realistic size of a park that I think you would be able to make where it actually would be considered a skate park. I thought, you know, we could do a 2x2, which is basically 4 pads, but I don't think that would work because there's literally no way there could be flow. At least here it's a rectangle, so there's a way from, you know, to go to the other side of the park. So I don't even know the layout exactly what I'm going to do for the park, but I built everything else around it, and that's going to be the point of today's video. We're just going to try to see if we can build a skate park on here, and yeah, so let's just get into it. So I actually am going to be using merge glitch on this. I think it'd be a lot more difficult if I wasn't, but if you guys want to, you're more than welcome to try. And I'm going to be trying to do a street plaza here, and I think I will do kind of like a small stair set. I think that would be kind of interesting, so let's just do that. And I think we can kind of tuck this in on the side over here, and I'm actually going to be using the wall component, and the reason being is we have these concrete areas and it looks nice on this side. And so what we can do, we can actually add it maybe on this side, and there's not going to be that much to it. We won't be able to build that much of a run up, because then you basically, when you land down the stair set, you're gonna just end up in the grass, so we won't be able to do that. So I think what I'm gonna have to do then is we're gonna use these 4 pads. So I'm gonna duplicate these, and I'm gonna do copy, and I know I'm not doing it the right duplicate way, but I'm working on it. And we'll probably just do about this size. No, that's too small. We got to make these might be like the most small stairs of all time. So we'll have these lined up, and we'll let it leak out on this side. And it's looking like I'm gonna have to add one more stair set on the bottom, just because this doesn't look lined up. It's a little bit too big, which is okay. So then we'll duplicate this top part, and then it'll be perfect. So there's our stair set. That's kind of ridiculous, so let's just try it out, see what this looks like. Again, I think that's the world's smallest 8 stair. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. But at the same time, though, it's not sized that bad, because if you look at my guy's feet, it's sized pretty well. Then on this side, I think what I'm going to do then is add a curve. So we're going to add a ramp, but I want to make it so it's actually steeper, because I don't like how mellow that is, because it just makes it so it'll just take up more space, and square footage is obviously going to be very important here. So then what I want to do is kind of mellow out the transition right here. Even though I know it would skate fine, I just want to make sure it'll continue to skate well, and this will just make it a little bit nicer. So I'm actually gonna have one piece right there, and we're gonna have one piece also on this side, so it'll line up where there's the corner piece. There we go. So now we filled up that area. It's a little bit easier to skate, but the one thing on this side, it's kind of, I almost think that that's kind of pointless right there. So we're going to delete that part. And I think the next thing I'm going to do is make a rail, which I haven't used this piece in a while, which is if you use the DLC bent pole rail, it's actually a really useful rail, just because it looks like it wouldn't be skate well, but then you can build these, and basically where you place one and then you just flip it horizontally, and then it lines up perfectly, and then you can essentially, yeah, make length of a rail any way you want. I'm just gonna angle this down so it's not too bad, and then we won't make it super high. So let's test out the rail. Ooh, that doesn't seem like it'd be too bad. It almost feels like it's a little bit too tall. It almost doesn't want to skate, but I think that it kind of makes sense, just because there's so many pieces merged underneath here. So it makes sense why this would be ungrindable. So I think to counteract this, so maybe if we go something more like this, which again doesn't look as nice, but I do want it to be something that's actually skatable, because that would be ungrindable, and that's not fun. This is the most ridiculous rail. There we go. So I think that one's not bad. And then on this side, we will add a ledge. And I think for here, we're going to use the half width stair, and then we'll make this the city. And then we don't want to have it extend out over on that side, but we can cover up this to make it, again, a little bit cleaner. Again, we'll just make sure the height's fairly decent, and this looks a little bit low, but I think for something of this size that might skate well. Oh yeah, I don't think anything will be super grindable, unfortunately, on here, just because there's, you know, let's see, there's 8 stairs, there's like 64 things. Well, not 64, there's a ton of pieces merged in. So yeah, that makes sense why it wouldn't be skatable, but that's okay. So now we gotta add something on this side, and I think it would be kind of funny to put a ridiculous quarter pipe. So again, I think the one rule though it has to be within the 4 spots in the park. What we can use is the wide ledge that you get in the art gallery pack. So then we'll use the wedge ledge, and there we go. So now we can use this as our main quarter pipe, and then we'll turn snapping off, and then now I'm just going to make it as best as I can. So I want to angle this down a little bit. We'll have it so it's just underneath the top part. I think that'll do well, and then we'll just slowly angle it down. This quarter pipe looks like it'll skate well, so let's just try it, and it does. So we got our quarter pipe, and then we got to add, I think, a rail and a ledge here. So I have this piece of grass underneath it, just because I wanted to give it some detail, but I think I'm gonna move this probably on this side, so you'll actually see it, because that's where there'll be a ledge, and then, so it'll be kind of like a Manny area, so we'll leave that ledge there, and then what we'll do is actually use these half width pads. We'll use at least one of them, and then this will basically be high enough where you could still do a grind or something, and then we can add this on the other side right here, so this will cover it, and then this will still be at a decent height. Ooh, and I think it actually would make sense to go on this side. Then we can add a rail in the middle right there. So now you can hit the ledge on this side, and then we can also hit it on, if you want to do the manual. So it'd be like almost like a low pop park. And you know what I'm gonna do real quick? Again, this won't take me super long, but I'm actually gonna delete these stairs, and the reason being is not because I don't like them, but I will actually fix this problem of it being too glitchy, because there's so many pieces merged into it, the game doesn't understand that you want to grind on something. So what we can do is I'm actually taking these out and using it as a reference point, and I'm gonna delete the other 3 sides, but I'm gonna, again, I want to make sure that I can actually grind it, and then I might do that bent pole rail, because I don't know, it just doesn't look as nice, and we want to make sure it skates well. Even though it's just gonna be a small park, we do want to have something that'll be kind of interesting. So then what we'll do is delete these 3, and then I'm gonna delete all this stuff over here, and then now we shouldn't have a problem with stuff not being able to grind. So delete that, and then we'll merge this one on this side. Turn snapping off. Oh, I want to make sure we select everything. And there we go. Now we just have this one in the middle. And now we line that up, and I think this one should skate now. So now let's just test it out to make sure it does. Because obviously last time you guys saw that it barely wouldn't grind. And see, now that's obviously grinding, no problem. So now we can do the bent pole rail that I was talking about earlier. Let's test this rail out and make sure that it's at a good height, and it looks like it is. So for the posts, and it will kind of extend out a little bit, which I'm okay with. I'm just gonna leave it the same color, and I'm gonna have these connect on the bottom sides of it. So we got a nice down rail, and then we gotta add our flat bar rail, the small rail right here, and then on here you can actually still, there's some type of flow to it, I guess, a little bit. So this one thing is though, this quarter pipe's a little big. So what I can do, even though not that it doesn't skate well, it does, but I'm gonna merge the stuff in a little bit, and then basically make it so it's more condensed. See how these pieces are getting a little bit bigger, and what we can do is make them a little bit smaller, which I guess this is kind of hard because you gotta eyeball it, but we're condensing everything down a little bit more. And see how it was extending out there, and now we're moving it back even more. So I can do this, so move this in more, and it's just slightly adjusting everything to make it so it covers a little bit less, because I kind of think I might extend this out a little bit more. The nice thing about this, again, we're saving a little bit more square footage, but I don't think I'd be able to add it on that side unless I move this stuff back a little bit, and then when you skate on this side though, then you're just gonna go into the grass. But I'm okay with that, so what we can do then is copy this, and then let's hope that it'll snap right in, and it does. That's awesome. What we can do here then is just move this stuff down a little bit, and then turn the snapping off. And then we kind of have this awkward area on this corner, but I do know that we have this not inverted hip. It would be this ramp corner, which we could add. And what we can do here is I think there's a spot like kind of like the Stoner Plaza that has these ledges on the inside. So the problem is though, is they're not gonna look the nicest. I mean, something like that wouldn't be bad. That kind of works. And then let's just see if we can add thing to mellow it out. So we'll turn the city on, and then now we can just, oh yeah, that looks nice. And then what we can do then is just move this to one side a little bit so it doesn't glitch out. So we have this little hip right here, and then you hit, oh my God. You know what we can't do actually is make this rail a little bit smaller. So what we can do, and this, you don't need merge glitch to do this. What we can do then is use these rainbow up rails. And what we want to do is actually angle this top part down, or angle it down so then we have a flat area right here. Make it as best as you can. And then what you do then is basically push these in, and then you can line it up in the way that you want. So we want to make sure they're lined up overall as best as we can. But I think they're pretty good. So what we can do then is now we have a shorter rail. And this is good if you want to do down rails, and they're just angled down a bit. And now it should be skatable. I just want to make sure. Oh yeah, it'll skate over it, no problem. Alright, so in that jump cut, I had about 20 more minutes of building the park, and there's a lot of changes that I actually did in that time, but there was just small stuff that I just felt like would be interesting if you guys wanted to see it, but I will explain it. So what I did is I built put some white pads around this mani pad right here, added some rails to give it an accent. I added some color to the thing, and then what I did actually in the ground is I basically replaced the 3x6 pads, so it's the same size, but what I did is I created a gradient on it, so it just kind of makes it visually a little bit more interesting. So that's why I did that. And then on the outside, I added kind of like a little fence rail. I added these like kind of curbs to help prevent you from getting some extra space, because I think it's kind of interesting with the challenge, giving yourself a little bit of a constraint to make it a little bit more difficult to build a park. And I'm pretty surprised actually on, I don't want to say how well the park did, but there actually is somewhat of some flow here, even though it is such a tiny park. And I think the thing that's a little bit more interesting is that I think there's a lot of local parks that, I don't know if this would look exactly like this, but a lot of local parks are kind of built on this small plot of land, and they're kind of forced to like build something that's a little bit more creative and give it so there is some type of flow. And yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about how this plaza came out. It's overall skatable, and like I said, I'm really happy about changing these pads on this section, because now this stuff's actually skatable, and I kind of do like having that small bent pole rail. I haven't made those in a while, and especially I kind of forgot about that trick with these flat rails, that you can make them a little bit shorter so they're easier to fit in a small area, and I don't have to have that super long rail. And I did add this little Euro gap because, like I said, there is some type of flow here, which I do kind of like. And this is definitely would be more of a hardcore park, and this would be a little bit difficult if you were on easy or normal. But overall though, it's really cool. And like I said, building stuff with constraints I think forces you to be a little bit more creative. So I recommend trying it if you don't know what to build in a park, or you have an idea. I think it is kind of interesting and fun to give yourself a little bit of a challenge. And overall, I feel like this almost seems like it'd be a park that you could potentially see like in some type of small little town. I feel like, I mean, besides maybe this part over here, everything else I feel like would be something that you would see at a skate park, you know, just your local community place. So yeah, I challenge you guys to make your own small skate park using 3x2 pads. So if you guys do end up doing the challenge, make sure you send them to me via Instagram DMs at ITZChrisOwens. I'd love to check your guys out. Or if you're on the Xbox 360, again, we can connect and get in a game so I can skate it, and maybe we can do a follow-up video of some of the people who tried to do this challenge. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys want me to continue making more content like this, make sure you click subscribe and let me know down below in the comments, so then I can continue to make stuff like this, and maybe we can do some more challenges. Anyways guys, my name is Chris. I'll see you again soon. Peace.